Sheila's having a beautiful, joyful moment because
Woo!
we were talking about how we were watching our videos and YouTube's back, and we really do get the giggles at ourselves at some of our mannerisms. So we're trying to really keep a straight face. We've been trying for 20 minutes to start the show, but we wanted to share this with you. So we do get the giggles. So Sheila's having a joyful moment. I've been trying not to
it's
laugh.
her fault.
Okay.
Oh.
It's her fault.
Oh my gosh. Okay, and here's the thing. You know, we know so many of you who are watching this show. So to me, it always feels like we're kind of sitting in a circle anyways. For all of those of you who we know who you are and we know you're watching, and it does that, you know, we like to feel like we're bringing you right into our circle. You're right here with us. And maybe we've taken that too far.
And we all know that you know our sense of humor as well. And so you know that when we get the giggles, we really do try to be very professional, but sometimes the joy just gets us and we're making critical comment on how we behave when we're on YouTube. So we'll try.
All right.
I don't know if we're going to be successful, but we can try. We're attempting it. Right.
Oh, God. Okay. Today on Heart Class, we are going to do another great prayer. The last show we did of the prayer that turned out really good. So we're going to do another one. And this is the prayer for the blessing of peace. And this is going to be beautiful, just like the other one. So let's get with it. How did this begin?
Well, I love to share the journey with you of the joy of how it all evolved. What happened was, and thank you for asking, Sheila, and I'm glad the last show was able to help so many. And so these prayers are available on my website and on my Facebook page for Angel Essence House, and they're for everybody. Please feel free to share them. The only thing that I do ask is, could you please share the little story that goes with them? I always print the story for you, but today I'll fill you in the finer details of how it actually happened. Before I moved here on the ridge of the Great Dividing Range in New South Wales, I was on Mount Tamborine, a tropical rainforest up in Queensland, and that was one of the places that the Divine and Sananda and my team had guided me that I needed to be. And so I stayed there for 7 years, and I had a little shop, and I used to walk from my kitchen door into my little shop. It was called Angel Essence House, and everybody knew the angel lady on the mountain, which was really lovely. And I'd always have the most wonderful, wonderful brothers and sisters that would land on my doorstep. Even if the shop wasn't open, they'd knock on the door very tentative, and they go, "Excuse me, I'm so sorry. I know you don't know me, but Archangel Michael has asked me to come up here. When I woke up this morning, they showed me your house and I have to come here. Please excuse me, or please forgive me." And I go, "No, that's fine. Come in. This is one of Michael's houses." And they'd walk in and they'd see the paintings of Michael and they'd just burst into tears. So I was always clearing and cleansing the shop. And maintaining the energies. And at the time that I was there, one of my neighbours owned the crystal shop as well. And it was hilarious because the two of us, before we'd open to the public, she'd be out in the garden, I'd be out in the garden, she'd be saging up and down the footpath and all around the garden, all around the pathways. I'd be out there with my brazier with frankincense and myrrh and everything, and we'd be going, "Morning, morning," and they just knew us because we'd be out there. We'd create beautiful pathways of light for people to walk even into the property and come past my fountain to my little shop. Anyway, this day I'm in the shop and I'm clearing and cleansing because you have a lot of public coming through, and I always like to maintain that beautiful angelic vibration. And I'm standing there this day and I'm doing my little thing and I'm going, "Oh, I really would like some help. This is so much work every day and I've got so much to do. I know we didn't do this in the olden days. I know our blessings lasted longer than a day." I said, "Please, isn't there something we can do that lasts longer than the day? And all of a sudden, I've got St. Padre Pio standing next to me in spirit with his brazier. And I'm not Catholic. I know of St. Padre Pio because a beautiful friend of mine introduced me to him many, many years ago about this amazing man and what he did. And I went, hello, St. Padre Pio, what are you doing here? And he's got his brazier as well. And I'm standing there, I remember it so clearly. And of course, this beautiful wave of love came over me with his presence, and he's so saintly. And he said, I'm teaching you what to do. Now do this. And he's saying these words in Latin, and he's swinging his brazier in a cross. And I've got my little brazier with all my incense burning, all the sacred resins I use. And I'm going, this is really cool, thank you. And so we're swinging this, and I'm saying all these Latin words. And then we went around the house, and we, as well as the shop, which I always did the cardinal points and blessed everything for everybody. So they'd walk in, they'd really feel it and have that wonderful, magical experience. And out into my studio and all everywhere. I just was on a roll. I was on a high. I went, that's really fantastic. When it finished, I said, now what did we do? I said, what were we saying? This is gorgeous. And you could feel it. And he said, well, we will talk. He said, we have heard your call. He said, and we want to help. And I said, oh, thank you so much. So over many months, I felt myself sitting in council with them at a beautiful round table in the saintly realms. And I could remember sitting there in spirit. And they were saying to me, what do you need, Sheena? What can we do to help? And I said, thank you so much. And so I remember sitting and going through with them and explaining to them what I would like to have so we can offer it to the people. And many light workers who have places that are open for the public to come through. I said, we need something that's a bit stronger than just saging the environment. I said, we need a blessing like in the olden days that would last. And I remember in ancient times, we would do an annual blessing, and we would do blessings under the moon. So I had that knowledge in me, but I knew there was something that we had to ask for. And so I sat in great detail and I said, okay, now what can you guys do? Like, okay, what are we doing here? We were doing what we call brainstorming. And they were saying all the things that they could offer, which I thought was so beautiful. Now, the saintly realm is a part of the angelic realm, but these are angelic beings who were created to incarnate. And so they've walked the walk and they've talked the talk. And the most important thing about being incarnated is they understand the subconscious mind, the astral realms, the realms that mankind creates in their mind, what we call the angelic realm, we call it illusionary realms. It is illusion, but it's not. Illusion is a really good word to describe it because it's a creation. Mankind is so powerful with everything that they think they create, everything that they feel or they create. So, and I kept thinking, wow, this is amazing. So we can do more with this prayer. So I really was asking for a house blessing. And what came with it was so much more. So I stated my intention and what I would like to have happen. And they said, yes, we can do that. Of course, we'd love to help. And I said, why don't more people use the saints? And they said, child, they've forgotten. They've forgotten that we walked on the planet. They've forgotten that mankind ordained us, and therefore we have a spiritual recognition, spiritual authority to come in and help. They said they use the masters, which is wonderful, but they said we are also here to help. And they forget to ask us. So I even work with saintly beings that have never incarnated on this earth that mankind wouldn't even know about. I adore them, of course. And I was working with the head of the saintly realm as well, and he's such a beautiful mentor, and he taught me so much, and he helped me in many lives, even though he's never incarnated. And I know when I visited St. Francis of Assisi's Basilica physically, I always in spirit run there and greet St. Francis and run, and I do terrorize the monks occasionally, but I sing I sing with them, and they're very tolerant of me, which is very wonderful. But when I went there physically, it was spectacular because I'd never seen it physically. But when I went there physically, there's this beautiful wall that looks out over Tuscany. It's got these arches in it. And I went, that's where I go in spirit. But in spirit, it's a monastery behind it, sitting out, suspended, cantilevered over the valley. There's no physical building there, but I go there in spirit. So it was wonderful. So I love St. Francis, and I've always worked with St. Francis as well. So what evolved was this beautiful house blessing, but it can also be used as healing. And it lasts from moon to moon. And so I remembered what he'd said in spirit, and I remembered what the words were. And I looked these Latin words up and studied them, and I explained what I wanted to have happen and what my intention was to offer to people. And it was spectacular. So they're Latin words, and I said, I need something really simple and really short and really easy to remember, so that anybody can do it in any culture. So I did use Latin. And so the very first words of the prayer for the blessing of peace are Dominus, Patrius, Sanctus, Benedictus. Amen. And that's the prayer. But what it actually means, and you'll laugh, the first night I did it through the whole house. I get into bed that night. I'm ready to just almost go into my service work. And my team are there, my personal guardian angels and the archangels as well. And all of a sudden, I'm laying there. It was quite exciting. And these 4 amazing knights walked in full angelic armour, with the big breastplate, with a white cross in the blue, or with a pale blue background. And they took up position at the 4 posts of my big 4-posted cherry wood bed. And they're standing there like they're marching, clink, clink, clink. And I went, hello, boys. What are you doing here? And more importantly, who are you? And why are you here? I didn't recognise them. And I said, who's in charge of you? And this beautiful knight, he stepped forward and he said, I am my child. They always call me child. I am child. And I said, what's your name? And who sent you? And why are you here in my bedroom with my team? And they said, we're part of your prayer. And I said, you're kidding. I said, this is so cool. I said, so what's your divine purpose? And they said, we're here to help you with your spiritual work when you go out and do your service work at night. I said, that's fabulous. I said, so can you go into some of the places that the angels don't go with me? Because we do go where angels fear to tread sometimes. That's just a joke. That's an angelic joke. Don't take it seriously. And so, so I said, this is amazing. I said, how long are you here for? We're here for the month. And then I said, do you come back next month? They said, no, a new team will be assigned according to what you need and what you're doing. I said, oh, wow, this is fantastic. I said, now listen, I have to introduce you to my team. So I introduced everybody, teach everybody else. And I said, of course, my own personal guardian angel is my personal guardian. This is him, and he is in charge of everything. And I said, you do need to cooperate with each other. It's like, because they're both standing there, like face off, you know, we were looking after her tonight. And I said, well, no, I've got lots of work to do. But it was just extraordinary. I wasn't expecting that with the prayer. And so if you're a light worker and you need assistance, this prayer is also going to assist you with your work. So they're going to send a saintly being in who, because they've been incarnated and they've walked the walk and they've talked the talk, they understand the subconscious realms. They can go into places where they can assist souls that in other cases, other higher vibrational beings will have to really, really lower their vibration to go right in. But because they've been ordained, there is a divinity about them. Oh, I was just so excited. They have made my life so much easier. But with your house blessings, what they do is they will send in 4 guardians that will stand at your 4 cardinal points, as well as your own guardians that you may have set. They're bringing these beings in. And so they're assisting you on another vibrational level. But you can offer it to other people. if they're struggling, if they're having difficulty within the family, if they're grieving, you can ask for them to be blessed with the blessing for the prayer for peace. These beautiful saintly beings will work with that group for a month to help them in the background, to help their souls. So it can be used on so many levels. But when you say the words Dominus Patrius Sanctius Benedictus, what it actually means is this. This is the English translation, and we're going to post the words up for you as well. So the English translation is, Dominus means the Lord is with thee. Now, the Lord meaning God, however you conceive God to be. Yes. The next line, which is Patrius. Now, Patrius actually isn't a Latin word. It's one of those words that I sort of made up because I needed a word that would be Patrius is sort of descended from patriarchal. It's sort of Latin, but it's not. But I needed a word that represented the Lord in all its highest forms. So it is God at the highest form in however you conceive God to be, the highest vibration. And it says Sanctius, which is sanctuary, which means holy, holy, holy. And then the last word, Benedictus. It means blessed are all who come in the name of the Lord. Now, what this means is, in detail, it says the full translation means that it's created as a powerful blessing to bring peace, and when invoked, it's facilitated by the saintly realms according to the need of what is required. So when invoked, it resonates in a multidimensional, and it's guided by the Christ consciousness that exists in all that is. And then, so the prayer is the form of what we call a benediction, which offers a very powerful clearing and cleansing and healing. Now, the benediction, I had to study what this word meant because I didn't know, it wasn't in my knowledge. But after studying it, I went, oh, okay, now I understand what this is, so I could offer it to everybody else. And so it's an event that takes place. It's you're sending a petition to the highest powers, and then they're granting it, and they're sending back whatever is needed. So the prayer is a form of a benediction, and it offers a very powerful clearing and cleansing and healing from the energies that come from the illusionary realms that mankind creates in their mind. So the prayer can be used for personal, for house, for environmental clearings, and it encompasses all denominations. You do not have to be of any religious denomination. It's not a religious prayer. The words might sound religious, but they're just Latin. And I've given you an English translation of what you're asking for as well. So use whichever one you feel comfortable with. You can use the English version, or you can translate it into your own language. But that's basically, don't worry, they'll know what you mean. So the saints wish to help. They absolutely want to help you, and this is their gift to you. So even when evoked, the event will last from moon to moon. So I'll just do it slowly. It says Dominus, which is the Lord is with thee, and the Lord be with you as the Christ consciousness. Patrius, its highest forms, the God, the Goddess, the Father, and the Mother. Sanctius, which is 3, full of glories, saints and seraphim angels. He who came, he who comes. It means it's in the past, the present, and the future. Now, for those of you who don't know what the glories are, they're the fire angels and the seraphim angels, and they come with the highest vibration. They're what in mankind's concepts, they sit at the throne of God, which for me means that they are at the highest point of vibration, and they're fire angels. They bring forth the fire, that golden fire that just brings you back to your divinity. And then benedictus, which means blessed are all who come in the name of the Lord. And what this really means is a mighty deliverance without fear. And amen, which means it is done, so be it. So it really is a beautiful event, and you can say it at any time that you choose. With my beautiful students and people that work with it, they'll pick a time that's good for them. They'll do it either every full moon and it lasts the whole month, or they might do it on the new moon, or they might like a favorite date. And so you can use sage to do this, and you can use like I use frankincense and myrrh and benzoin, and they're sacred resins, and I burn them, and I have a gorgeous brazier. So I do that. And I do like to honor Padre Pio. When you're learning, you'll be standing right next to you, for those of you who are evoking it and learning it for the first time. So don't be surprised if this beautiful monk walks in with his brazier and he stands next to you and he goes, "This is how you do it." And so you can start always at the north corner. So you can find the north, and if you don't know where the north is, most telephones, most mobile phones have a compass in them, so you can activate your compass and find the north. Start in the north corner and be guided if you need to go in a clockwise or an anti-clockwise direction. I go in a clockwise direction, but I'm in the southern hemisphere. For those of you in the northern hemisphere, you might be guided to go in an anti-clockwise. It's entirely up to you. And so you just go to the cardinal points. So you go in a circle, go to the next cardinal point, and the next one, and the next one. And what you're doing with your brazier is you're drawing a cross, which is Dominus, and then Patrius, Sanctius, Benedictus, and the final one is a swing in a circle for the Amen. But that cross in the circle also represents the amor of God, which is the love of God. But anyway, that's what they taught me. And so you can go and do all the rooms of the house, and then for 1 month, the saints come in and they assist you with whatever is needed for that month. And they'll work with you while you're asleep. They'll help shield the house from other energies, of course, with all things. These beings cannot stop another mankind's free will. So it won't stop a physical person coming onto your property if that person's got the will to do it. So please be really sense and sensibility with all things. If you have someone running down the street waving a gun at you, you don't stand there and say a prayer. You get out of the way. Do you know what I mean? There needs to be sense and sensibility when you do this, because that's something I had. A beautiful colleague of mine had an experience where her home was robbed, and she was so angry with spirit for not protecting her property. And I said, "Darling, spirit can't stop a person's free will." I said, "You need to be sensible about that, how to protect your property with physical sense and sensibility. But this will stop energies. This will stop beings that do not have good intention coming in, lower vibrational beings. If they do come in, what will happen is one of the saints will greet them, the same as in the prayer for the Amor God. And the saint will ask them, how can they help them? Do they need help? Do they need counselling? Are they lost? So it's a two-way flow. You will send out beautiful divine energy to the area where the prayer is set, and that's always my intentions. And you can pray if somebody else is struggling, and you can say, God, can you please offer them the prayer for the blessing of peace? So that means that a whole lot of saints will roll up at their door and knock on their door and say, we're here to help. Someone sent you this prayer. Would you like our assistance? Would you like our help? Now, the same with anything. They can refuse it if they do not wish to have it. But many of them open the doors and say, oh, yes, please come in. I'm struggling. My teenage son has got a drug addiction. We need help. What do we do? You can sit and pray. They will do as much as they can in what we call the subconscious, the illusionary, the astral realms, if that makes sense. But I adore them. And the following months, I had all sorts of interesting assignments that beautiful nights were sent to me. And one particular month, I had all the girls, all the girl saints came in because we were working with the feminine goddess energy. I love them. They're so much fun to work with. They really rock. They really do. So if there's any questions that you'd like to ask about the prayer,
well,
please don't hesitate to, yeah.
I wanted to add that.
Could you feel it when we were saying it?
Oh, yeah, because, I tune right into your energy. But again, I wanted to impress that that whole thing came to you because you had your shop and you needed to clear out a space where a lot of people come and go. And so if you have your own little business or your own home where a lot of people are coming in and out, that is like the perfect thing to use because you get real busy and that much energy.
It was. Yeah. It basically came from me finally having a tantrum because I just knew that there was something that we could do that would last longer than the one day, because it's something that I knew that a lot of the light workers were always doing this. And I kept thinking, how can we help? I know that we didn't always have to do it. Of course, smudging is fantastic. And if you look at the physical properties of smudging and the metaphysical properties of smudging, it is so beautiful. Of course, you can smudge and cleanse as much as you feel comfortable and wish to do. And please don't stop your own rituals or your own routines. This was just something to take it to another level that I needed to last a bit longer than the one day. And as a result of me asking, I was incredibly blessed to be working with these beautiful beings and learning about the amazing gifts that they offer us. And there's saints in nearly every culture, and according to what they need, they'll bring them. They will bring some saints that you might not recognize, but these saints have most definitely walk the walk as well as talk the talk. They have earned their stature of their ordained. They've been ordained, and that is spectacular with what they do.
Yes.
Mind you, and I know that sometimes I've had a bit of a bad headache and I might have used a few words that you shouldn't really use, and he'll suddenly be standing next to me with this phrase, you're going to use profanity again. We'll just have to bless her. And I love him. I love him. I know that he knows my intention is pure, and I just get the giggles and I just think, how you go, Padre? How's your day been? Very good, thank you, child. I love him. He's just so gorgeous. He's a very beautiful, beautiful being. And then, of course, we're just working with that small aspect of Padre Pio. The being that Padre Pio is, the divine being, is so much more and so much larger than we can possibly imagine. As you're all learning about the different aspects of us, so Padre Pio is the aspect of the man that he was when he incarnated, but the divine spirit that he is so much larger. And of course he carries the Christ consciousness codes because he did experience the you must forgive me, I've been channeling, so my brain's gone to mush all of a sudden. He experienced it where he had the crucifixion wounds, so he really stands with the Christ energy. What do you call that, Sheila?
The crucifixion.
When someone experiences the wounds of the crucifixion.
Yes.
What is the name of that? Do you remember the name of that?
No, I don't.
Good. Not just me. Not me.
Oh, no.
Not me. That's just had
the last couple of days. I'm lucky to remember my name.
Yeah, that's, I know we've been working. It will come to me.
You know,
I do apologize to you all. There's a word for those that experience.
You had mentioned that you know, I know that on other realms we you know, we do things different, and you know, I the more I remember, and the bigger my heart becomes, I feel very familiar with you know, with gatherings that are divine. It's like we do things so with so much more divine interaction. You know, working with those angels is just something that we just do, and then we here on Boot Camp Earth, you know, we're just trying to remember that exists. And I know that, you know, some, you know, there's ceremonies in you know, religion and different gatherings and everything, but they're nothing like what we are used to.
Correct.
Sacred ceremony is something that we are so used to on other realms, and here it is lacking so much.
Yes.
I think you really, really have to make your own.
Yeah.
And by doing these prayers, you are making sacred ceremony. You are making a sacred moment and request, which, you know, they know that we're doing the best we can. And you know, I mean, I think we are honored, whether we say it right correctly or not. We are honored just because we're here and we're trying so hard. So
absolutely. Absolutely. They know your intention. This book, this prayer too, has also been written in the Great Register, and it registers multidimensionally in the angelic realms. So the minute, if you don't remember the words and you want to do it very quickly, of course you can say the title, Please God Bless Us with a Prayer for Peace. They know the intention, because everything is written. I write everything, and I work with them in spirit, and I go before the High Council before everything is approved, because I've always worked with divine law, and so I get that approval first, and I state the intentions. There's a process that goes through it before I present it to mankind. For what purpose do you want this? And I tell them. It's like I have to sit before a council of really beautiful big beings, which is wonderful. I love the process, and so I'm in deep gratitude to these beautiful beings. I'm in gratitude to my gorgeous friend who introduced me to San Padre Pio many years ago. And it's just a reminder to ask. They're here to help. That's the thing that I'm always reminded of. You're not alone. We are probably our own worst enemy, and it's our own head that does us in. Our mind can be our own worst enemy as well. But if you ask for help, of course they're there to help. So just ask. And I hope you do enjoy the prayer. Thank you for listening today, and please forgive me for losing it occasionally. That's my humanity. If you do have any questions, please don't hesitate to message me in Messenger for Angel Essence House or for Sheena Gay Rogash. And if you do need any readings or any angelic connections, I do this formally, make formal appointments. And I do have a couple of vacancies for students if you wish to learn how to be an angel intuitive, but I teach multidimensional healing, working with the angelic realm and the legions of light. So if you feel that might be your calling and you want to do anything like that, don't hesitate to contact me. I do have a couple of positions, a couple of vacancies for students, because some of my other students they're just so rocking and rolling, and they've gone on to be independent, which I feel like a mother swan. And they've gone from their signet stage into their swan stage, and so they're just doing their thing. So there's a couple of positions there. But please enjoy, and I do hope it helps you. They wish to be in service. And of course, I always would like to acknowledge Sananda, who I've always worked with. And even though I don't say the name Sananda, which is the highest self of the Jesus and the Buddha energy, that's my soul kin and my soul family that I work with. So I just want to always say thank you, because even though the name Sananda's not there, if I use the word the Christ consciousness, that's Sananda for me. That's my human way of saying it.
Absolutely.
So Sheila, thank you so much for creating this amazing platform for us all to share knowledge with people. I just love you to bits. And I hope Padre Peter's not there swinging that phrase here for you. He's so gorgeous. He really gets the job done. He really does. I love him. I love him. I love him.
Well, and I want to thank you, because I've got so many more new friends that I've met through you and through our shows. And I just love having all those contacts, those beautiful contacts, and hopefully we're going to be able to sit in a big circle out there one of these days.
Oh, we've got that on the bucket list. Sheila's trip to Australia to experience the fire pit overlooking the valley with all of us here. Absolutely, we've put that on the bucket list. That's doable, because we're always connected in spirit. So we'd absolutely love to see you here. So a passport is a priority. Yes, and then we'll do that. We're definitely. That would be so gorgeous. Well, the only problem is we'll probably will not let you go home to America. We want to keep you.
Well, as soon as I get this Northern Pacific fault line and all this taken care of, then I can come down and work in the South.
All right. Righto, onto it. Yeah. And we must, you were mentioning that we will do a future show for people, definitely, on talking about all the energy lines and the grid lines. But that'll be fun. Watch out for that one. Yeah. So
well, everyone, I hope you've enjoyed this. We know you are with us. We have you in our circle, and we love you, and we thank you for joining us. You make this such a joy, because we are connected with you, and we just thank you, because it is with your sharing and caring that we just continue to do this. So thank you so much.
And I always like to just say to everyone, thank you, because you allow me to be my divine purpose. Without you, I can't be me. So thank you, and namaste, and goodbye from Australia on the ridge of the Great Dividing Range. Thank you, Sheila. Namaste.
Namaste.
My heart is your heart.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.